Right now, on To The Point. Sacramento is now looking to another solution to the homeless crisis by changing who manages the city shelters and safe stay sites. Becca Habegger has been following the voting all day long and joins us to break it down. Another arrest linked to a fatal fentanyl overdose in our area. It's at least the fourth arrest this summer, as prosecutors are cracking down on the people dealing deadly painkillers. And the rise of esports. We meet a team at one college who competes in the digital space, while another college is showing students that gaming can even become a lucrative career.
Thanks for being with us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we have a lot to get to tonight. So we start with National Night Out and several police departments in our area that are having some very big events for the whole family. They are designed to build bonds between the community and the police. So our Luke Cleary is at one of those events tonight, and he's live right now in Colonial Park. Luke, how's it going this evening?
Hey Alex, it's a nice vibe here tonight. There's a lot of people here with their families. It's got the feel of a small neighborhood festival. I'll give you a look at the band that's out here playing over here on the grandstand. You can see families out here as well. There's a pool over there just over that fence, kids getting in and getting some laps in, and you may see a number of police officers here just getting out and about and interacting with neighbors. The smell of barbecue is certainly in the air. And we are in a small neighborhood called Colonial Heights. It's near Tahoe Park. This is a relatively quiet neighborhood, but earlier tonight we spent some time in Del Paso Heights. I want to show you some video from earlier today when we met with people there at the Del Paso Heights National Night Out event. They had a great turnout with police and community members there. The Del Paso Heights Community Association helped organize this, and they say that their relationship with the police is so important that they have their meetings at the police station and they get their weekly briefings from the police as well. And that, of course, is a neighborhood that has had a difficult relationship historically with law enforcement. The association president said that is why events like this are so important.
So we have common interest. Everybody wants to see peace. Officer wants to go home safe that night, and we don't want to get shot by a stray bullet at a stoplight. So we need them, they need us.
And we'll have much more on Del Paso Heights Community Association President Gregory Jefferson, his own personal story and his history with the police department as well is quite interesting. We will also hope to bring you an interview with Sacramento Police Department Chief Kathy Lester. We were expecting to meet with her here, but she was held up at City Council. So we'll let you know. Later tonight at 11, we'll have a lot more on National Night Out. But for now, Alex, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Luke, thank you so much. Former President Donald Trump has now been indicted for a historic third time. This after a special counsel spent months looking into evidence that Trump and his associates attempted to overthrow the results of the 2020 election. Tonight, we're looking into what's inside that indictment and the new charges Trump is now facing.
Former President Donald Trump has been informed he has been indicted by a federal grand jury. Sources tell ABC that this comes after a special counsel's probe into the former president's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The indictment including 4 criminal counts, including conspiracy to defraud the U.S., conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and the conspiracy against the right to vote and have that vote counted. The indictment also references 6 unnamed co-conspirators from Trump's inner circle who went along with and promoted his false election result claims. For more than a year, federal prosecutors have been investigating the alleged attempts by Trump and others to overturn the 2020 presidential election results in hopes of reversing the former president's loss to Joe Biden. Smith is also investigating Trump's actions during the January 6th riots at the Capitol, when he told thousands of supporters to march on the Capitol after he held a rally on the Capitol Mall.
The attack on our nation's Capitol on January 6th, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy.
In May, Smith sent Trump a target letter before indicting him on 37 criminal counts in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents probe, and then 3 more charges in a superseding indictment filed last month.
I didn't know practically what a subpoena was and grand juries and all of this. Now I'm like becoming an expert.
Trump, who has denied that he did anything wrong, pleaded not guilty to the previous criminal charges he's facing. Meanwhile, a political action committee that supports Trump has already paid more than $40 million in legal fees towards Trump and his associates in the first half of this year alone.
Other stories we're following tonight. Sacramento police are now investigating an attempted kidnapping that allegedly happened last week. The department says it happened at West Hampton Park in North Natomas. Police say they spoke to the victims and have turned the case over to investigators. That's all that they could tell us about the case right now. A 44-year-old man from Rancho Cordova was arrested on homicide charges after a 24-year-old woman fatally overdosed on fentanyl. First responders found the woman in Folsom last Wednesday morning. 2 days later, police were able to arrest Ronald Eman at the Folsom Light Rail stop. And all 3 of these people have been arrested in connection with a fentanyl death. All 3 are accused of supplying the drug that killed someone. From left to right, 21-year-old Nathaniel Cavakungan was arrested after a 15-year-old Roseville girl died from an overdose back last year. And then in the middle, Courtney Robinson was arrested in Yuba City in July. She's accused of supplying drugs that killed a 32-year-old man. He died just last month. And then on the right, Glennis Smith was arrested just this past week out in Elk Grove. He's accused of putting fentanyl in his wife's food. She died this past January. And we now turn to the housing crisis. An emotional debate wrapped up just minutes ago over homeless encampments. Who has the power to clear them, and where should the people living there go? Becca Habegger has followed this all day to bring us the latest updates.
When we say homelessness, we are talking about people. The issue is a group of people.
Sacramento City Council members spent hours Tuesday listening to public input about homelessness solutions, including whether to force people experiencing homelessness from unlawful encampments, like those on public sidewalks, near schools, or along levees.
When people have stability, they are safe, as well as safer for everyone. Making their lives more difficult will make everyone less safe.
Homeless advocates shared their perspective, pointing out those who are unhoused often have nowhere else to go and not enough services. We also heard from people who live, work, and own businesses in Sacramento who say they are fed up with illegal encampments blocking sidewalks, of trash in the streets, even of experiencing harassment from some people who are unhoused.
Just 2 weeks ago, one of my hotel guests was violently assaulted just 2 blocks from my hotel. As the city leaders, it is imperative that we provide our citizens and our visitors a safe downtown and a safe waterfront experience. This crisis should be our city's top priority, and we believe these ordinances will make a positive impact.
Up for a vote at this meeting were several measures. They include directing City Manager Howard Chan to spend whatever money it takes within his authority to enforce Sacramento's ordinances related to unlawful encampments, like camping on sidewalks or along critical infrastructure, and that measure passed. Here's Mayor Darrell Steinberg explaining why this changes how quickly the city manager can now respond to unlawful homeless encampments.
It's to get to them faster. Voluntary compliance first, yes, enforcement if there isn't voluntary compliance, and to use overtime to be able to pay for a more rapid response. That's what the import of this is. It's a more rapid response.
The big vote of the meeting was whether to give City Manager Howard Chan the sole authority to pick so-called safe ground sites, designated spaces where people experiencing homelessness can camp or park, that would allow him to bypass council members in making these decisions. Those opposing the measure said they worry it would put too much power in the city manager's hands.
This is not me trying to usurp power from this council.
The measure came as a recommendation from Mayor Steinberg, who wants Chan to be able to move projects along more quickly.
And Becca Habegger joins us in studio. She's just running in, you guys.
I am following these notes for you guys. Yeah, I mean,
the debate's going on right now. They could be voting as we speak, but a lot of people had questions about this proposal. What are some of the things that people are asking?
Yeah, you know, one of the questions is how are these, I mean, if this passes, right, that's the big if, they're still debating it. How is City Manager Howard Chan going to cite these, find these safe ground camping sites? He says, you know, they'll go through a list of available properties, but specifically instructing the city manager
Darrell Steinberg, Sacramento's mayor, said he's looking for these things, basically directing him. If this passes, I want to make sure that you try in good faith to find geographic diversity. I want there to be a basic level of dignity and support at these safe ground camps, so water, cleanliness. He also mentioned a good neighbor policy. You might remember the safe ground camping site that they had right near ABC 10 at the WX corridor. There were encampments that popped up around the safe ground campsites. And Mayor Steinberg says he wants the safe ground camping sites to be standalone and to not have essentially spillover encampments. So to respect the neighborhoods in which these are located. And again, this meeting is going on. We will have the latest for you on LNT tonight at 11.
All right, Becca, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And Sacramento isn't the only city that's grappling with solutions to housing the homeless. This weekend, the city of Stockton just announced the state of emergency for later this month as one of its shelters is set to close. The closure could leave about 250 people without a place to stay, something that the city manager told us could cause a public health crisis. The shelter is set to close on August 15th, but the city manager says that he is doing what he can to stop that from happening.
That is not an option. That is not an option. Even if I myself have to directly go to the shelter and man the station, it's not going to happen.
The city is now talking with a couple of other nearby homeless organizations in hopes that they could take on anyone that is displaced. Meanwhile, the city is working on building what they are calling a homeless navigation center just yards away from the closing shelter. So here's a rendering of what the finished shelter is supposed to look like. It's going to be made out of used shipping containers, and here's what it looks like today. The city tells us the $5 million project was supposed to be done by now, and they say that they're working to get it open ASAP. All right, so to come on to the point, one place you want to be careful if you're planning on going for a hike this weekend. Law enforcement tells us that hikers keep getting themselves in trouble in this area.
Oh, and it's going to be warming up as well this weekend. In the meantime, some beautiful conditions. Temperature trend on the way down, below average for the next couple of days. We'll talk about that in the forecast.
Plus, the rise in popularity of a new kind of sport, a team that you can play for while sitting at your desk chair.
To hear like major news organizations and like major event holders even mentioning esports as a brand is crazy.
We're talking to students at Sacramento State about the esports team, while another college is helping students make video games into a career. All right, let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods. Monica, it has been quite nice, I must say. A very temperate start to the week for July standards, at least, right?
Right, except it's August.
Oh, you got me. I forgot.
Where did that time go? I know, first day of August starting off beautiful here. Temperatures in the mid-80s to right around 90 up and down the valley, 70s along the coast, 80s and near 90 for the foothills, and close to 80 up top for this year. Now, we did see a little bit of cloud cover building for today. This is all part of a bigger weather complex, the monsoonal flow developing once again through the desert southwest. It's starting to taper off right now, and we're actually back to a drier pattern for the middle and end of the work week. And that's going to minimize some of the cloud cover that's coming in through our region for tonight and even early tomorrow morning. You can see it still streaming through, especially right through the Central Valley and up towards the high country. As far as the thunderstorm action, though, took that out of the forecast for the Sierra, at least for the time being. Looks like it's going to be a little bit farther to the east, and especially over towards Nevada, more so than on the California side of the Sierra Nevada. As far as our winds, at about 5 to 15 miles per hour, pulling in that cooler Pacific air. So temperatures for tonight for National Night Out will be quite pleasant. 7 p.m., 79 degrees. We're in the 70s still at 8 p.m. and then in the 60s thereafter with our sunset at 8:16. Sunrise tomorrow at 6:08, and we'll start the day off in the mid-50s with 80s exclamation points sticking around through Thursday. High pressure ridge starts to build back. That's going to add to that stability for the desert southwest. We'll be back into the 110 range for Phoenix. So they broke that streak, and now it looks like they're going to be right back to the big heat for the weekend forecast. And big heat returns for us as well. We're back in the 100s by the time we get into the first weekend of August. Highs will be near 80 up top for the Sierra tomorrow, 80s and 90s for the foothills. We're in the 60s along the coast. We head inland and still pulling in that breeze will keep us in the 80s to right around 90 for the forecast, with morning lows there in the 50s. Now, as we look at our mountain forecast, again, no thunderstorm action, but warmer. Highs will be in the 80s for the high country, near 100 for the foothills, and 70s for the coast, with our 10-day forecast showing a short streak of 100s. It's just for about 3 days, and then, Alex, we're right back into the 90s.
Yay. All right, thanks, Monica. All right, if you're going for a hike this weekend, here's something to watch out for. The Placer County Sheriff's is now warning people about a dangerous hike in Shirley Canyon. This is by Palisades Tahoe. They say that in the last month, there's been at least 3 cases of hikers getting lost, stuck, or sliding down the cliffs. The office says that the hike is very steep and difficult, and to make sure that you're prepared if you are heading that way. Welcome back. Tonight we are talking about esports, and if you've never heard of it, it's basically when people play video games competitively. And as with any other sport, there are teams, there are leagues, and yes, there are even professionals who make millions playing. And in the past few years, esports has become a more viable career path for people interested in video games. So students from Sacramento State have tapped into esports as a way to not only compete, but also connect, and for some, even escape.
That sees 1 health. See, ooh, Canner goes down. Immortality has to.
Esports is just, it's pretty much the same as regular sports. We're just playing on computers or on consoles. We're playing video games competitively. Gaming just always gave me a place to just like get away from everything and just like really be like a comfort for me. When I went to high school, the comfort kind of turned into competitiveness. It became more of a passion for me to get better. I watch NBA as well as esports. Watching a professional do their job is valuable because you get to learn things that you would otherwise not do on your own. The question is, why wouldn't you be watching someone that's a professional at your field do something better than you? A lot of us started out as players. I know I was playing for the Sac State Overwatch team, and then I graduated, which means I couldn't be a part of the team, but I was still really committed to the club. I wanted to keep being a part of that, so I signed on as a coach. There are a lot of people that really love playing games competitively, but it's very hard to find a way to do that as a team unless there's an official organization for that. So it really helps people get together and work on these kind of teamwork, communication skills, really feel like they're a part of something. The scene is growing fast because there are these new clubs popping up every year in colleges. There are students at every school that are starting to realize that this is something that is achievable.
Green has a chance to retake it. Scores all by himself pretty much.
I didn't expect was for mainstream culture to adopt gaming as a mainstream activity. I never saw it as a nerdy thing, but I definitely saw it as something that a select few of people enjoyed. Like if you asked someone if they like video games and they said no, you wouldn't be surprised. But to hear like major news organizations and like major event holders even mentioning esports as a brand is crazy. I would have never thought that way when I was a kid. And I'm so excited to delve into this like new phenomenon because we're all learning. This is new.
And our photojournalist Xavier Uardi put that piece together for us. Across the causeway, UC Davis is doubling down on the future of esports too. The school is now offering an eSport management certificate. Students will need to pass just 4 classes in order to get that certificate. Here's an overview. The university says it'll take between 3 and 6 months to finish. It costs just more than $2,700, and all 4 of the classes are available online, and the university offers an additional class on esports marketing. After the break, what we're working on for later this week, how a new school is working to help keep their kids safe. Here's what we're working on for later this week. Horrific scenes of school shootings continue across the country, leaving families and communities completely devastated. But they're also trying to build a safer future. During an active shooter situation, we rely on teachers and staff to stay calm, call 911, and put their school on lockdown. Now, a new school in Vacaville is making all of that possible with just the push of a button.
Each of our workshop spaces have panic buttons. We also have them in specific offices for a staff. If there's ever an issue in any one workshop space, all they have to do is lift this up and hit the button, and it locks the facility down and begins to notify the police.
This Thursday, we are taking a look at the new generation of school safety. And finally, tonight, here's a way that you can help students headed back to school. ABC 10 has partnered up with Great Clips and the Salvation Army to make this summer to stuff the bus so you can drop off school supplies at any Great Clips location through August 13th. We're taking items like backpacks, pens, folders, binders, basically anything that you can find at Staples or an Office Max. For a full list of drop-off locations or to make a cash donation, visit abc10.com/stuffthebus. As always, let us know if there's anything that we should be looking into. Remember, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com. Have a great night. I'll see you here tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.